Hello, welcome to a Go Battle League video. I haven't made those in a while. I'm going to showcase a team that I used to go 30-0 on Go Battle Day. Now, I actually went 34-1, but that one looks so ugly, right? So I wanted to have the clean 30-0, which actually did happen. And then I got the hard counts, unfortunately, in like really hard counts in one game. I also have to mention that my Elo was pretty low at this point. I'm going to showcase one set from one battle from each set, so my elo goes higher over and over. But I think it's nice to show to some lower elo viewers to show how I do these battles as well. The team that I use is right here. It's Talonflame, Shadow Lapras, Trevenant. Sorry, no spicy core breaker, wonderful pick that can beat everything and no one knows what it does. No. It's a very basic team. I use Shadow Lapras instead of Walrein, which is more common in this line. Lapras is just bulkier. Has a better... I feel like it does a little bit better against most grass types because the Ice Shard just adds up in shields. That is in shields up, of course. And Walrein now just is a bit more slower. It doesn't do as well against Trev anymore. On top of that, I just like the water coverage as well. The surf from Shadow Lapras just hits very consistent on everything. The only thing Shadow Lapras really sucks against is Registeel. I run Skull Bash as well, so Giratina isn't super great either, but you win the 1s and 2s pretty consistently. And you need Skull Bash to not be walled by Walrein, which is important. I'm going to compare some shield scenarios here as well between the XL and non-XLs, because I know that some people are like, oh, I don't have the XL Pokemon, it's not worth building. I'm going to show you that this is not the case. XLs and non-XLs for both Trevenant and Shadow Lapras perform very similar. The way you need to read this is that the shield scenarios are all even. So that means that this is like the upper row, you see XL, Trevenant will beat Sylveon in the 0 shields. This means in this graph that whatever Pokemon is showcased for XL, that's the one non-XL does not pick up. So this is like XL picks up Sylveon over non-XL. Non-XL does not beat Sylveon in the 0 shields. So in this case, you see that the XL Trevenant beats Sylveon in 0 shields and 2 shields more consistently. I believe 2 shields might be a bit bait dependent. And you can beat Scrafty, which is a big one for XL. Non-XL, however, will always beat the Mirror, which is pretty big in my opinion too. You will always win CMP. On top of that, you beat normal Nidoqueen in the 1 shields, which XL does not. The performance of these two are very similar. Everything else, they both beat or both lose to. I didn't check uneven shield scenarios here, but there are a little bit difference there as well. We're also going to do the same for Shadow Lapras here. Shadow Lapras, the XL, these actually have quite some differences. The XL does not pick up anything in the 0 shields. Non-XL is straight up better when all shields are down. The non-XL actually picks up Alola Muck and Shadow Snorlax. Shadow Snorlax just takes they both just take a little bit more damage from the non-XL, so that allows the non-XL to win 0 shields. The 1 shields, however, that's where XL wins Greedent and Shadow Snorlax. Snorlax might be a little bit bait dependent because it needs to land at least one superpower. Non-XL picks up Galarian, Stunfisk, and Alolan Ninetales where XL doesn't. That's because I believe the Surf of XL barely doesn't do enough. So you simultaneously KO with Alolan Ninetales. You actually see an example of this later. Mine is slightly XL, my Shadow Lapras. In the 2 shields, Shadow Lapras picks up Umbreon, which I think is a really big one. It picks up Walrein, but this is very bait dependent. I see it as a positive matchup as the Shadow Lapras because you can just keep buffing yourself over and over until Earthquakes just don't do anything anymore. And Granbull, I find that a little bit redundant because most people who run Granbull run Shadow Granbull, and that's one you don't win in 2 shields. Non-XL picks up Gyarados in the 2 shields and Toxicroak. Toxicroak is not entirely true, but I did put this here because you only need 1 Ice Shard advantage to beat Toxicroak in the 2 shields as non-XL Shadow Lapras. I think that's a crazy one, to be honest. It's not too common, but it's possible. So yeah, no spicy team for me this time. This is your basic boy meta team. If you don't have a Shadow Lapras, these are alternatives. Normal Lapras is even bulkier and honestly just does just as well, to be honest. And Walrein still is very viable as well. Let's go take a look at these battles here. So this is my layout from Go Battle Day yesterday. As you can see, all 5-0s here. And then the last one was a 4-1. Let's take a look at my first battle at the 1800s. We have Talonflame into Walrein. One thing why I really want to use Talonflame here is because lower elo players tend to use Charm more often. I've seen so many Togekiss and Sylveon, and it makes sense. Sylveon, with all due respect to anyone who uses Charm Pokemon, they're just low brain activity Pokemon. You just have high fast move pressure. My opponents expect me to Brave Bird and dip. I didn't, so I'm gonna go straight Flame Charge here. They don't shield the second one, and you see the timing is very necessary. They might not be aware of how to do that here. You need to do 2 Power Snows for 1 Incinerate, or 4 Power Snows for 2 Incinerates, because otherwise I get a full Incinerate through and this matchup becomes even easier for me. So now I have a shield advantage for my Trevenant. I don't expect them to have like a Dark type in the back. I mean, at this elo you can expect anything, and this is not what I expected. I don't like this Pokemon at all, to be honest. So I'm going to throw the Shadow Ball, hoping they no shields, but they do shield. It's the Gengar, obviously. And this is a Shadow Punch. I think I can get to Claws and another one, but I rather swap out into Lapras. And this is actually a loose con of mine. They left with a Shadow Punch, so I need to be aware of that. And they come in with a Escavalier, which is a tough one. But good thing I have a Shadow Lapras here. Walrein wouldn't do the job as well here, but Shadow Lapras needs 2 surfs to take this thing out. And the sooner I throw my move here, the more HP I have, and then the Gengar would have to throw a Shadow Ball to take me out, and that might allow me to get to a Seed Bomb later on my Trevenant, because I have a little bit energy there. This surf will take it out. Ice Charge chunk, so Gengar has to hurry. I think he's like 4 off the next Shadow Punch here. That is the ball indeed, and now I will get to the Seed Bomb, and that will give me the victory. So the first set was a 5-0 here with this team. Let's take a look at, we've seen some wild teams, by the way. Let's take a look at the next one. In the 1900s, Talonflame into Dragonite. So what I learned here, which I didn't know at first, is that you should do 4 Incinerates before throwing Brave Bird. Now at this elo, I kind of didn't expect them to have a hard answer to Shadow Lapras right away, so I'm just going to go and Lapras my hard answer. And they also with Melmetal, which actually is a hard answer, but is also not as bad as I thought it would be. Because look at how much this Rock Slide actually does. Doesn't do that much, to be honest. I take super effective damage the whole time. The Ice Shards are resistant on it. And look how much this Surf is going to do, actually. It does... Well, it gets shielded, so we won't find out. But if it didn't get shielded, it does about as much as that Rock Slide. So now that I'm a shield up, I feel quite comfortable with this. I'm actually 2 shields up. I'll get some energy on the Trevenant. It can take a Rock Slide. Might even shield regardless. But also, this allows me to get energy to hit that Dragonite as well if it comes back in, because a Shadow Ball will do a lot. And I'll throw right before the next one. So in comes Shadow Balls, we'll take out the Melmetal, not a very common pick anymore. I'll throw a Shadow Ball onto this Dragonite as well. This Dragon Claw will do quite some damage, not that much, it's only normal Dragonite, not Shadow. Farm up a little bit more and then go for the Shadow Ball to take out this Dragonite. This Trevenant is actually surprisingly good in, or decent in these kind of matchups. And in the back is a Swampert. This is very much over. They had two Trevenant answers, two Talonflame answers, and they decided to double shoot. That is their misplay. If they no shielded their Melmetal, I think they may have been in a better spot, because I'd have to shield Rock Slides on my Talonflame no matter what. But usually against a Dragonite lead, I like to do 4 Incinerate, because then the Brave Bird will take them out. Next game, in the 2000 elos, we got Talonflame into Swampert. Now, do notice that we see very meta teams from my opponents as well so far. That's because that's the ones I picked. I also faced stuff like Gardevoir Lead and Togekiss in the back, or Kyogre, Tapu Bulu. I filtered those out. I don't think those are very much worth showing. If you have a meta team, you win against those no matter what. Anyway, my opponent swaps a Venusaur into a Shadow Lapras. And if you know this matchup from Great League, you know that Shadow Lapras does not lose this. It's pretty pretty dominant with shields up. I'm going to throw the Surf. They know it's not an Ice Beam, that's fine. I was going to shield anyway and flip this, so I don't care. Going to farm down this Venusaur with the Ice Shards, come out with a full Surf, which is pretty big. Swampert needs to throw an Earthquake to take me out. And I believe they already were pretty close to an Earthquake, so I'm not even going to time my move here. I'm just going to throw immediately. And that Surf does a nice chunk of damage. I rather had them shield that though, because my Seed Bomb does way more. And Trevenant plus Talonflame with a shield down, like against a Guillotine, will be very scary. They throw a Hydro, probably expecting my Lapras to be less bulky, but that's not the play. Now they have to shield this, so that's very not optimal for my opponent there. Very big misplay. And in this case now, I can bring in my Trevenant here. It can take 2 Hydros quite comfortably. In Great League, that would almost KO. Actually, they go for Earthquake. And then they have their own Talonflame. Now, I can take a Brave Bird here, so it's not the worst. And as soon as they are Brave Birded, I can claw them down. Now, this is somewhat iffy if they somehow get to move on my Trevenant, but that's very unlikely. They are at about 4 Incinerates now, and they need 2 more. Now that I've Brave Birded first, theirs will KO me immediately, so they don't get any more farm at that point, and 2 Shadow Claws take them out at this point. I can get to a Seed Bomb, and I will take out Swampert. Trevenant is just amazing for breaking Cresselia Swampert course mostly, because some people are very stubborn and still run that. Next match, almost at the 2100s. This lead is not a favorable one. If Snorlax times well here, they should barely outpace you to their second Body Slam. But my opponent throws immediately, giving me three free turns, so that will allow me to get to 2 Flame Charges before they get to 2 Body Slams. 2 Body Slams, 24 turns, 2 Flame Charges, 25 turns. But they gave me 3 free runs. So I will win the 0 shields here as Talonflame, which is fine, but you can see I'm already pretty low, and I don't think I can get to another one if they would shield there. They answer with a Shadow Ampharos. Now I know that Shadow Ampharos is not a joke. Good thing my Incinerates already did quite some damage. This can be a Dragon Pulse. I was expecting Zap Cannon actually. That's what most people run on it. But it is the Dragon Pulse, which does do a moderate amount of damage. And in the back is that Gyarados. Now we've seen in the Sims that an XL Shadow Lapras does not win this. And I also miscalculated a little bit, because I thought this wouldn't be a crunch, because it's 4 Ice Shards. If I do 4 Ice Shards, this should be at 1 Aqua 2. And I swapped after like 1 Shadow Claw. So I was like, there's no way. That will be very quick, but they were there. I guess I didn't swap quick enough, and now we CMP every time, which is a waste, because if I knew we'd CMP, I wouldn't throw, and I'd get an extra free Ice Shard. Now I shield or resisted Aqua Tail, and I think they can barely farm me down here. But yeah, as you can see, I don't win the 2 shields here. The Dragon Breath just add up a little bit too much. My Ice Shards do nice damage too, but since Lapras has such high HP, I am able to get to this next Surf, which is really nice. And now I can claw this down and get to the Shadow Ball. And that should win me the game. Yep, there we go. Shadow Ampharos pretty fragile, so this should definitely take it out. Bam. And 1 claw to kill the Gyarados. Next battle in the 2100s. We got Talonflame into Umbreon. Now, this is a matchup I don't like to stay into, but I also feel like I have to, because I have a Travis in the back. I can never ever let my Pokemon get on that. My opponent is smart. They know it's 3 Incinerates to the Brave Bird, so they want to CMP with me, so it does way more, so their Foul Play does way more damage. But me, you can tell by my huge head that I also am quite smart, and thus, if I know they will try to CMP with me, then I will get a free Incinerate. So that's what I got there. Free 5 turns. I will throw my next Flame Charge now. They do shield that. And I get another free Incinerate. And again, you need to do 1 Snarl for 1 Incinerate or 3 Snarls for 2 Incinerates here. Timing is necessary, because now I make this matchup way closer than I should make it. That doesn't even take it out. They will win this matchup barely, but I might shield this because I think I'm 1 or 2 Incinerates off the next move. I'm also very fit of Charmers with Umbreon. But They come with Giratina. We have some visual lag. They do get all their Shadow Claws through, but I also get to this very important Brave Bird. Giratina is not as good for me when shields are down because I don't have Ice Beam on my Lapras. But now that shields are down, I can Shadow Ball this. And I know they have quite some energy. I couldn't count very well anymore because of all that visual lag. And I call the first move. I honestly always expect HP power on them anyway. But that was a Dragon Claw, I no-shield that, and I guess I'll preserve some HP now. It actually is the Shadow Sneak, so they baited me the first time. And I do want to get rid of the Giratina, so I'm going to take it out here, and then we'll see what is in the back. It is triple, really bulky, a very boring team. I think pretty effective probably too, except that there's a lot of Charmers in this elo range. So I don't think an Umbreon lead plus Giratina on the back is going to be very effective in the 2100s. Either way, you can also try outstat protecting your opponents and then you also win. But a Trevenant with the shield up just rips through this line and I love it. And the Surf should take out this Cresselia. Shadow Lapras are actually pretty decent against Cresselia too when shields are up. So that's what I like about it as well. Speaking of Cresselia, here is one. I believe this is a 2200s and Talonflame is seen as a Cresselia answer in general, but that's only if it doesn't run Future Sight. I'm gonna no-shoot the first move because I can take one, and it is the Moonblast, which make me think that they might be weak to Talonflame in the back, and maybe they don't have Future Sight. Gonna throw my first Flame Charge here. I will go straight Flame Charge, that's just fine. Because I like to buff up Talonflame, maybe shield once, and then threaten shields in the back while getting Switch. My opponent times their move very well here. And I think it's a Moonblast, so it won't KO. But it's a Future Sight! And now I'm almost dead. I actually lose the 0 shields here against Cresselia. And I'm gonna go in with my Trevenant to get some really good farm here. I'll have to shoot this move though. If it is a Future Sight, it will do about 40%, which I don't want to take. It is a Moonblast though, praying I don't get the debuff, which I don't, so that's really nice. Let's see what they have in the back. It is a Nightmare. I didn't see any obstacle to Scrafty until so far. And Scrafty with a shield up against my backline, this is not going to be fun for me. But I do have a lot of energy, and Trevenant is a bit bulkier than it is in Great League, so it can take a foul play from here. Another C-Pump coming in here. Shadow Claws add up a little bit as well, because they're only single resisted. They don't do anything on Obstagoon though, so there's that. I think I can still take a foul player. I mean, I don't think I can shield even, because otherwise Lapras just get rips apart in the back. Gonna go for another C-Pump here, but I think they throw one before their foul play, so I no-shield this. And it is the Power Punch indeed, which allows me to get to the next C-Pump. Now, if they shield this, it will be a little bit of trouble because my Shadow Lapras will probably lose like 30% HP or on this Scrafty still. However, they no-shield and we Samo KO. Now I need a good matchup in the back, but it's an Alolan Ninetales. My Ice Shards are resisted here, so this is definitely not favorable. Now let's see, is my Lapras non-excel enough to win this matchup? I should win this if I'm non-excel enough by just one Ice Shard here. I should be able to get to 3 Surfs here. They do throw their Weather Ball, which I honestly don't think isn't very necessary. Weather Ball doesn't even do anything. And we CMP on the next one here. They do win CMP. Lapras loses like every CMP because it's so bulky, even to Snorlax. Weather Ball doesn't do much at all. Going for another Surf here. It does get shielded. And now this Surf has to take it out. I think my Lapras is non-excel enough to win this matchup. And it does take it out. If they just don't throw any charge, I think they win that, to be honest. Because the charms do more than that Weather Ball. Galvantula, unconventional because my line is ABA against Electric, but they're bugs and I have a better stat product, so it's not the worst. I would hate if they lunge here because it's double resisted and it will debuff me. I wouldn't have to shield this, but I'm afraid of a discharge. Now I'm going to try and time this optimally, but that means I cannot throw back to back because they are at the move right now as well, and I lose CMP. So what I'm going to do here is the magic trick. Catch. Hopefully a discharge, another lunge, and it is the resisted discharge, so that's good. But I'm answered by an Obstagoon, which is worse than a Scrafty, way worse. Way worse. And I'm furiously swiping my bubbles there. I'm very upset by that. In comes this Obstruct. The Obstruct boosts them, but listen, Obstruct is a meme move. This will never ever win you many games. Obstruct is good when you need to force a matchup. What's a good comparison? Like Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen just goes straight Poison Fang the whole time to win 2 shield matchup, right? All the neutral matchups. Obstagoon can do the same, but Obstagoon is a bad safe swap, right? Because it's double weak to counter and very weak to fairy. My opponent, I went into Talonflame here to kind of force them to swap out because it becomes a little bit unstoppable with all these obstructs. Since my Talonflame already is so low, they tried to catch a move here, I guess, but very miscounted. They forgot where my energy was, I guess. And now they lose all their defense. This Flame Charge barely doesn't take it out. Very unfortunate. They get to another Night Clash here that will take up my Talonflame. And then, again, I need a good matchup in the 0 shields in the back. I do have a Seed Bomb stored, so I have that going for me. But if it is like a fighter, well, I guess a Shadow Ball will still do a lot. Shadow Claw down is Obstagoon, feels good, man. And in the back is a Sylveon, I think. That was a Charmer. Again, Charmers are pretty common in the lower elos, and I will show no mercy on them. They top left even, and that's game. So that's my 30-0 streak. As you can see downstairs or down here, I kept track of my sets. My last one was a 4-1, so it's actually 34-1. You got debated, sorry. But I think it's still a really good streak. I'm going to try and do more Go Battle Day. Unfortunately, they had some errors with like... I don't remember, with claiming mill tanks, and now we get the dust later because I tanked for the dust, right? I get 25k starters for a 5-0. Anyway, hope you liked the video. Maybe you want to try the team, and have a good one. Bye.